Hi, I'm PBA champion and World Masters champion Chris Barnes. Let's meet our coaches for the Increase Your Average DVD collection.
Beautiful shot. And she gets it.
Hi, I'm Carolyn Doran-Ballard, USBC Director of Coaching.
She wanted it.
Hi, I'm Kim Turrell-Kearney, Assistant Coach for Team USA.
Hi, I'm Rod Ross. I'm Head Coach of Team USA.
Yes! Yes!
Watch his approach. It is surreal.
Even at the highest level of the sport, bowlers have all sorts of different ways to get to the foul line. Whether you're male or female, big or small, left or right-handed. But at the point of release, you'll find that the best of the best look very much the same.
Lefty, righty.
Balance and focus at the finish position can make just about any approach the right one.
Anytime someone talks about improving their game, the physical game is at the top of the list. What sets most pros apart is their ability to repeat consistently time after time. Our Team USA coaches are going to put together a program from start to finish that will help improve your foundation and make you more consistent every shot of every day. Well, over time, we've seen many different ways and many different styles of stance or the setup. One thing you'll notice a lot on the tour is most of them look pretty close to the same, but there are some pretty individual characteristics. Ultimately, you just want it to be comfortable. Coach Ross, though, will show us a few different ways to get your stance and setup as comfortable as possible and as consistent as possible to help you throw your best shots.
A lot of the inconsistencies that we see here at the ITRC with bowlers relates right back to the stance. We want to try to have balance at the finish, but if you don't start in a balanced position in the stance, it's hard to create balance at the finish. With some small adjustments, we can give Terry a better starting position. So we want you to start in a balanced position as opposed to unbalanced position in the stance. As you can see, I can push you very easily and push you back. The issue that we have with there is all your energy and all your weights go on reverse instead of forward up the lane towards where the pins. So what we want you to do is get into your stance, flex your knees and get the weight onto the balls of your feet forward. So now you're in a very stable position. Now it's going to be able to enable you to have more balance at the finish position because all our balance energy is going up the lane instead of the other direction. Now that we got your balance better established on the balls of your feet, we want to look at your alignment going up to the lane. What you have is very square. You're square of your shoulders, your hips, and your feet. So what I want you to do is I want to take your bowling side, which is for you is your right side, and take your right foot slightly back, take your right hip slightly back, and your right shoulder slightly back. Now we want to keep the ball in the same position. We want to keep the ball between your shins and shoulder, still going up the lane. This is going to give you more of a better athletic position to release the ball and keep it on line going down the lane. Now we got your weight on the balls of your feet in a more balanced position and we got you open the stance, we want to take care of this ball placement. We talked about we want it between your chin and shoulder, not outside the shoulder, not aligned shoulder, between your chin and shoulder, but we want to get in a little balanced position so you can relax your hand more. As you can see, I can push and try to resist, and it's very hard to resist. What we would like you to do is pull your elbow slightly back, pull the ball a little bit closer to you, keeping it in the same position between your chin and shoulder. Now I can push quite hard and you're in a better balanced position. Your hand's going to be more relaxed in the ball, stronger release at the finish position, and you're in a better balance. Okay, the next thing we want to address, Terry, is that now that you got to get very good stance, we want to get into a very good start, initiating the whole approach. So what we want to do is now that you got the ball in closer to a better balance position, we want to keep the weight of the ball on the center of your hand here. We don't want to let that ball get in front of your hand. We don't want it coming back. We want it nice and centered here. Next thing we want to do is as we start to initiate the swing, we want to have a nice rounded shape to this push weight. We want it rounded. We don't want to have sharp edges. Swing doesn't have sharp edges. You want to have a nice rounded swing. So we're going to keep the shoulder back as the ball goes forward, and it's going to have a nice rounded swing. We're going to synchronize this with the very first step of your ball side foot. So if you're a 5-stepper, you'll take a step, and then the right side or the ball side foot and the ball will go forward at the same time. If you're a 4-step, we initiate just with the right side. The right step and the right-handed on the ball will go forward and synchronize at the same time. So that weight will hit your hand the same time that ball side foot hits the floor. Now that we got a good stance in the weight of the ball, you want to make sure that when you go out here forward, when we start this push weight, that you keep your hand underneath the ball at the start. That keeps your hand nice and relaxed. If you get out here and you let the ball get in front of your hand, now you're going to have to grab that ball and have to grip it and then pull it back. It's going to cause you an inconsistent swing and grip pressure throughout the release. So we want to keep it nice and balanced and rounded right here with your hand underneath the ball.
When talking about the approach, there's many things that go into it. Stance, push away, timing, body position, finish position. In this segment, Rod and Kim are going to go through and tell you a few things to look for and some tips on how to make your best approach.
Okay, now we're going to take a look at the arm swing. There's a very important part of a consistent delivery and accuracy going down the lane. We want to start with the ball between your chin and the shoulder here in the stance. But you have two options. You can take the ball around your body during the approach or take your body around the ball. We want you to take your body around the ball in the stance. So if I take the ball here in front and just push forward up the lane, go ahead if you wish to, you know it's going to run into his leg. So what we want to do with this ball side foot, the very first step of the ball side foot is step in front of the slide foot to create a path for this ball to drop in nice tight to our body. If we don't do that, the ball has to come around the body. So if it comes around the body, when it comes back down, the swing is going to have to come around the body again. This is going to create inconsistency of our launch angles going down the lane. If you let go of the ball early, it's going to miss to the outside. If you let go of it late, it's going to miss on the inside. The advantage of stepping in front of your slide foot right here at the start and let the ball drop into the slot, it's going to keep it straight back, straight forward. If you let go of it early or if you let go of it late, it's still going to be on line. Okay, the keys for a good arm swing is keeping consistency and the angles all straight as we take the ball back and forward towards our target. So as we initiate that start and that push, we want to have that crossover step so we can keep the swing tight to our body. As the swing goes back, we want to keep it in line to our body to the top of the backswing. At the very top, you'll notice that the swing, the bowling ball, and the head are all in line to his target. This enables him that at this point you can just let the ball drop, not change direction, and it will go to the target line. This enables a bowler to have a nice free swing, consistency at the release, and control his launch angles. So the key here is at the top of the backswing, we just let it rest, and it's just like it's coming down a ramp. You just let the ball drop straight down underneath the head to the release position.
Now we're going to take a look at the finish position. It's a key component in making a great shot. Very often we find players that fall off this way and that, and it's frustrating to them. But if we trace it back to the beginning, we find that it's typically happening there, that they're not getting a consistent start. Consistent start will dictate a good finish. There's lots of different ways to get to the line, but if we look at some of our great players, our elite players on Team USA, you'll see that they may get there in a lot of different ways, but at the end, everybody's in the same balanced, committed, finished position. If we look at all of our elite players, one of the few common things that we see is that they have great use of their balance arm and their trail leg. We want to counterbalance all of the weight that's swinging alongside them. That's what helps them stay upright and in a great line towards their target line that they're trying to complete. Having a great posture is what allows you to have good leverage at the line. Oftentimes we'll see players get a little bit too compressed with their waist, and they're giving away that good posture and good leverage that gives them good ball roll down the lane. A good way to correct that would be to make sure that your shoulders stay in line with your hips. Don't let your head get out in front of you when you deliver the ball. Okay, we have Steven here in a great finish position. If we start up top, we can see that his balance arm is in a nice relaxed position alongside his body. He has his core facing his desired ball path. He has great knee bend. His trail leg with his toe rolled is facing the side wall. Oftentimes we'll see players with their arm too high, and that gets them to sometimes deliver the ball a little bit too soon into the lane and get a little bit too compressed. But he's definitely in a position that we really want to see to throw a great shot. Oftentimes players get a little bit too compressed at the waist. This sometimes will relate in a short-armed follow-through. But Steven here is going to get in so that he has a straight line from his head to his knee to his foot to give him great leverage to deliver the ball properly down the lane. So for great leverage, you want to make sure that you have a stacked position from your head to your knee to your foot. That's going to give you the best ball roll and the best follow through down the lane.
Now let's talk about the release. How you put your hand in the ball dictates how you're going to release the ball. It brings it all the way back to the start. A lot of bowlers will just grab the ball off the ball rack, put their hand in the ball and go without paying any attention to how they put their hand in the ball. We recommend that you kind of get used to putting your hand in the ball in a consistent, relaxed state. Pick up the ball with both hands and put your fingers in underhand and roll the ball onto your thumb. Don't take your thumb to the ball. If you take your thumb to the ball, you're going to have to grab or grip that ball. Take that ball onto your thumb. It rolls it on, keeps your thumb nice and relaxed, the hand relaxed. It's going to facilitate you to have a nice, clean release. On the release, once our hand's in that ball at that release position, we want that ball rolling off the front of our hand. You want to take your hand through the ball, not around the ball. A lot of mistakes we see a lot of amateurs make is they want to come around the ball, trying to give that ball spin or side turn, trying to make that ball hook. You create hook by the ball rolling off the front of your hand. It will turn your hand. Let the ball turn your hand and release. Don't have your hand turn the ball.
Welcome you inside Cowboy Stadium, a venue that bowling has never seen before.
Learning how to read the lanes can help the average bowler learn to zero in on the pocket like the pros, whether you're bowling in the largest stadium in the country or in your own hometown center.
He just needs one more strike.
Top players know how to use oil patterns to their advantage, so the strikes keep coming.
Is it his? Yes!
Whether I'm bowling on the Pro Tour, Team USA, or in my local league, lane play is often the key to success for me. While I'd like to throw my best shot every time, the reality is, it just doesn't happen. But by using lane play and making the right adjustments, I make those mistakes turn into strikes there as well. We've all seen the person that just can't miss. By learning how to find your break point, making your adjustments, when, how, and where to do them, you too can be that person that everyone in your league says, wow, just can't miss. Most bowlers know about the arrows, but knowing how to determine your break point and how to adjust that break point is the key to creating more room on the lane. In this section, we're going to discuss how to do these things so that you too can create your most possible miss room.
As Team USA coaches, we get asked quite often, how do we help get our players lined up? We travel to all over the world. We have different types of patterns that they're always competing on, and you don't get a lot of practice time. So are there any secrets that we can share?
Well, we commonly use this rule of 31. Helps us decide where we want to play on the lane. So we subtract the pattern distance, 31 from that distance, and that gives us our desired break point.
So that's the distance down the lane that where we want the ball towards the end of the pattern, and we just got to figure the attack angle we want to get to that point.
Right, and that angle is going to be dependent on how you throw the ball. It's a personal number. If you're a high rev rated player, then your feet are going to be further left and you're going to hook to that spot. If you're high ball speed and a little bit straighter, then you're going to get a little direct line to the pocket.
So even to the lane surface, whether it's in synthetic or wood, it's going to make us play a little different too, right?
Right. Wood lanes are going to hook much, much more. Certain synthetics are going to play a little bit longer, so they'll seem a little oilier than the pattern is probably designed to play. So you really want to know your playing field.
So that rule of 31, if we're like a house pattern is 40 feet long, so you subtract 31, what do we end up getting?
We end up right around that second arrow. A little bit, could be one board this way, one board that way.
Depending if it's wood or synthetic, and there's different brands of synthetic too, it's going to be plus or minus. But that gives us a very good starting point, so we can have very good practice sessions. We're not kind of guessing where we're looking. This is where we want to be looking at.
Right. We don't have very long, so you want to make sure that you practice wisely. Make sure that you're not you don't need to explore the entire lane when we know that information up front.
And that's how it starts, but the lane's going to change as we start bowling. Isn't that correct? We got to be ahead of the moves, really.
Right, and that's what the better players do. They stay in front of the moves, and they're watching their ball transition down the lane. They start to recognize when it picks up a little bit too soon, starts to hook too early. They start heading a little further left if they're a right-handed player where there's a higher volume of oil, going to give them a little bit more hold, sort of push through the front, won't read quite as quickly.
So yeah, think of it as just like downhill snow skiers, and they're going down a solemn course, and you have all this nice fresh powder, and the first skier goes down, and they start cutting a path. Eventually, as they start having more racers go down, you have a predefined path. Pretty soon you got to get out of that path.
Right, the friction, all the balls going down the lane, those new balls, they're so aggressive, they start to pick up some of that oil, and so it starts to dissipate. Get more and more burn. You want to make sure you get out of that area so you get a smoother surface to play on.
Okay, so the keys here, we want to subtract 31 from the oil pattern. Kind of pay attention to the lane surface that you're bowling on, whether there's a high friction or a low friction, and be aware of those changes, watching your ball motion front to back.
So the break point is the first thing that you want to determine when you're attacking a pattern, whether a house pattern or a tournament pattern. The way we describe break point is when the ball, for a right-hander, has reached its furthest point right on the lane and then makes its turn back towards the pocket.
So it's a distance that is the farthest away or closest to the channel on your side of the bowling. So as you can see on these two charts here, our break point is going to be right here on the bowlers on the top part, and our break point is going to be right here for our bowlers down on the bottom part of the screen. The point is the farthest away from the pocket when it's going to be turning and going back to the pocket.
Now we have shot tracking. This is two different players playing the same break point. You can see up here we have Ametria. She's going a little bit more direct through the front part of the lane, so her launch angle is a little bit straighter. And then down here we have Jean-Marc, who has opened up the lane. He's got a higher rev rate, so his feet are further left, and he's circling to the exact same break point.
So we were talking about the rule of 31 down here. So we had a 40-foot pattern. So as you can see down here in Jean-Marc, he's about 9 board down here, about 39, 40 feet. Ametria down here, she's about 8 board in the same type of area. It's where the ball's starting to come back to the pocket, but they completely different through the front part of the lane. You have one of them playing 12 at the arrows, the other one was playing 9 at the arrows. So they're playing the lane similar, but depending on their style of play, they're playing down here the break point is the same, but they'll play the front part different because of their speed, their RPM, their rev rate, and the type of ball they're using.
So now you've thrown a few shots, you've determined where the hook is on the lane and your break point. But where do you start? Now, when I'm talking about where you start, I'm talking about with your feet. If you're a straighter player, you're probably going to be closer to the gutter and playing a little bit straighter. And as you have more revolutions or slower ball speed, you may move in a little bit and move your break point and your starting position a little further away from the gutter. Here we'll see some examples of some different types of players, and you can see which players you match up best with.
Here we have Jean-Marc. He's like a lot of bowlers that you'll see in Lake. He's high speed, higher on the rev rate and everything. But he's kind of playing the lanes too direct through the front, and he's having a hard time getting into the right side of the head pin. How can he apply that break point rule of 31?
Well, we have a 40-foot pattern, so we want our break point to be right around 9 or 10. And with Jean-Marc's rev rate and speed, his launch angle is, like you said, far too direct. So we would get his feet a little bit further left, maybe move his eyes, maybe a 2 and 1 left, 2 with your feet, 1 with your eyes. That'll get you a steeper angle through the front, but get you to the same break point down lane.
So, it looked like you're trying to play like second arrow through the front part of the lane. We really want to, if you want to think of second arrow down the lane. So we probably need you to move quite a bit left, like I'm saying, get it out to that point so we can get the ball to come back to the button. Let's go ahead and give that a try.
Okay.
Okay, and again, now just eyes, your feet look like they're in a good spot. just don't have our eyes far enough right.
Okay.
You're not getting it out to that spot that we're looking down the lane. So just kind of keep your feet in the same place. Just move our eyes a little bit right. Try one more shot.
Okay.
So now we can see in John Mark in 3 shots, you got warmed up. Now we got a good attack angle to the pocket. You've got a good place to start. You have a good break point down the lane, and you're nice and flush. Now remember, the lanes are going to change, but you still want to kind of keep that same point down the lane, and you're just going to be moving your angles through the front as lanes transition.
Okay.
Okay, now we have Steven, and Steven is a player that's kind of a medium to a firmer speed. Still has that good hand RPMs, but a little more side rotation. It's going to have a little bit more hook on the ball. But again, he's playing way outside.
Right, and again, with the distance that we have of the pattern, we want it, I think with your speed and your rotation, you're going to want to have much more angle again through the front, get to that same break point. I think that'll help you get a little bit lined up a little bit sooner.
It's, I mean, players will see this quite often. They like to see that ball hook. But your room for error is not going to be there. You're going to have splits, you're going to have washout stuff, because you're going to have to be so precise of where you're playing. Making the simple move of coming into that break point where we're looking down the lane 9 board and stuff, changing our angles through the front a little bit, you're going to have more room for error, your scores are going to increase. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Now on that one there, it looked like the angle just got a little too far out again, trying to, so probably just pull our eyes in just a little bit more, because it looked like, how far did it look like you got out to?
It was easily out around the first arrow, too far with my angle.
Too far, so yeah, so your feet look pretty good. Let's just pull your eyes in about 2 or 3 boards and let's give that a shot.
Okay.
Excellent, in 3 shots?
Yeah, I think possibly, and I'll ask you, Stephen, on the shot before, did you move your feet only?
Yeah, just my feet, yeah.
Your feet only, and oftentimes we see that with league bowlers as they move their feet only, which is a really aggressive move, and it moves their break point an equal amount down lane. So we want to make sure, if we're trying to control that break point, that we move our eyes along with our feet.
Great. That was a great shot. Okay, now we have a bowler of very firm speed, kind of a lot of side rotation, but really playing the lanes direct. How can we apply that rule of 31?
Well, 40-foot pattern, we want your break point right around second arrow, 9 or 10 down lane. So, and what we could see from that reaction is that your break point was far too far to the left. So we've got to figure out a way, making moves on the lane to get your break point in the right area.
And we don't want to just move your feet and your eyes, everything right. It looks like your feet are probably pretty close. We just want to take your eyes right, where you're looking at the arrows, and the eyes right a little bit so we can get the ball a little farther, just right down the lane. That was really close on shot 2. Where do you think she can move from there, Coach?
You know, I would maybe get your feet, maybe like a 1 and 1 right. 1 with your feet, 1 with your eyes to the right, and let's see how that reacts.
Good, now that one little bit of move, it ended up coming up a little bit high, so we're really close to our eyes. So probably just want to fudge a little bit with your feet back to the left, and we're going to be in a great spot. Which is great. In 4 shots, now we got you lined up. You're going to have room for air. You're going to carry the high hits, the light hits. And you're going to be striking quite a bit in there. That was a great shot.
Thanks, Ryan.
Okay, now we have Teresa here, and her style, as you'll see with a lot of lady bowlers, is a little on the softer speed.
Right.
Kind of a good hand rotation on the side and kind of a medium on revs. There was a very good shot there on the thing, but if we apply the rule of 31 to this pattern, which is a 40-foot house condition pattern, how far out did the ball get out there, Coach?
I think it got to right around 10, I'd say.
Yeah, got it in 10. So do you think she's going to be able to strike a lot at this angle, or is that going to be a one-time thing? Is this the right place where we want to kind of line her up?
I think she might be a little bit too open to the pattern, so her feet are too far left, and she's circling it a little bit more than I'd like to see, even with her softer speed.
So she's hooking the ball. She's trying to cover too much of the board, so if she kind of misses a little bit, she's going to really pay a lot of penalty. We don't want to be so dead accurate right there at the arrows. We want to have about 2 or 3 boards at the arrows to be able to still hit the pocket. So which way would we want to move her?
I'd like to see her kind of close down her angles a little bit, move further right.
So when you say close down your angles, be a little straighter through the front.
A little bit straighter through the front, more direct.
So pull her eyes a little bit to the left, move her feet a little bit to the right. Okay, let's try that. Okay, I like that through the front a little bit more, but it still came up a little bit high, so we want to fine-tune that. Even though she struck on that very first ball, I could see that she would be struggling as the game going. So what do we want to do with her feet, do you think, now?
I would move her feet a little bit left, keep your eyes right around the same spot. So maybe move your feet 1 board left, keep your eyes exactly in the same spot, and I would think that it'll compensate for the amount of hook that you saw on the back end.
Because what we're looking for is the overall shape of the shot, you know, and it does look like the shape's just a little too strong on the back, so we just want to move a little bit left with your feet. And there we go, there we have a really good shot, and that's going to give you more room for air. Get it in a little bit, out a little bit to carry more of your pocket strikes. You're not going to pay the penalty for the little misses. Your style there, I mean, you're a little on the softer side. You have a tendency of the ball wanting to hook a lot, so you're going to see a lot of transitions over a lot of high-speed players. They won't see the lanes change so much, so getting you in a good spot down the lane as far as your break point. And as the lanes change, you just want to kind of start moving your angles in, both your eyes, your feet at the same time.
Great shot. Thanks.
Okay, Coach, we looked at several different styles and tried to get them lined up. And what we've seen a lot of times on league bowlers, they either trying to hook the ball so much or they're trying to play them too direct on the lane and they're playing the arrows.
Right, and you know, the important thing is to figure out your style of play. If you're a high rev rate, lower rev rate, if you have high ball speed, softer ball speed, all of these things are key factors in how you want to attack that break point.
And what kind of ball you're using is going to weigh into the equation. The key is it's not where you're crossing the arrows. Too many players are worried, where are you playing the arrows? It's where are you playing down the lane? Where is that break point and how are we attacking that break point?
Right, and knowing that break point based on that rule of 31 is key into high scores right away.
Because you can strike from so many different angles and everything, but your room for error is very, very minute. The key to playing that break point, you're going to have the room for that little bit of error and you're going to have more consistent scores.
How many times have you been bowling in league or a tournament, think you've thrown a great shot that it suddenly goes high and you didn't expect it? The most experienced players that are the most successful anticipate these lane changes and are able to move before they actually happen. We're going to use some of the most state-of-the-art equipment available to us to explain how and why lanes change.
Okay, we're now on the International Training Center's research side in front of Earl, which with ball motion study analysis was done. And it helps us get into what we're talking about now is lane patterns. Lane patterns, they put the oil, it's an invisible playing field, but it's constantly changing.
It is constantly changing, and one of the major factors is simply because of the balls are going down the lane, and today's balls, what they're made of, a much duller surface, tend to almost act like a sponge, and they attract more oil, actually soak it up, and the lane will read as if there's much more friction as the balls go down the lane more and more throughout your match.
So what are some adjustments that we can be doing?
Well, a lot of times when the lanes change, it has very much to do with the surface of the ball that the player's using. If they're using a pretty aggressive ball, something that will absorb lots of oil, that will pick up the oil, they're going to dry out much quicker, and you'll see much of a change in reaction.
Yeah, a lot of bowlers, the lanes change gradually, but they all of a sudden say, oh the lanes transition. It's because they missed it. It's always constantly changing. We always want to be aware of what our ball is doing. We want to make our adjustments to the break point. Our break point is pretty much going to stay the same place. How we get to that break point is going to be changing.
Very differently, yes, and you can do that with release, you can do that with surface of the bowling ball. There's all sorts of ways that you can change your angle in the way the ball gets to that break point, but we do want to control that spot.
Yeah, so if the shape looks good and it's just the ball starting to come up a little bit high, then we want to make like what we call a diagonal change of 2-in-1, which will get the ball to the same place at the break point down the pins. It just changes our angles to the front.
Right, it'll accommodate that early hook that you'll see as the lanes change by moving a little bit more into more head oil, which will give the ball a little bit more push, a smoother surface to play on.
And when you're on tournament conditions, when you're usable in these house conditions, sometimes we don't want to do these 2-in-1s because the shape looks really good. We want to do what we call parallel moves then, which are like a 1-in-1 or a 2-in-2, because we just want to change where the ball finishes.
Right, so you're moving, for example, 2-in-2 would be 2 with your feet and 2 with your eyes in either direction.
So you want to kind of look at the shape of the shot. If the shape of the shot looks good, it just ended up in the wrong place, we want to make a parallel move. If it looks like it's too much angle or not enough angle on the back end, then we want to make a diagonal move. And you just want to change where the ball is going to finish.
Right, and oftentimes league bowlers make too many what we call abstract moves, and they're moving their feet only or their target only, and that really will change both the shape and the break point.
And then they end up getting lost, and they end up getting split, and then we have 3 or 4 holes in the game, and all of a sudden that 200 or that 190 game ends up being that 160, 150.
Right.
Ask the experts the quickest way to improve your average, and the answer is always the same. Spare shooting. A timely pickup can turn catastrophe
Really high in the big 4
into triumph.
He moves in off of that, and if he gets a pinch fast, it goes light.
Look out! Are you kidding me? Walter Ray Williams Jr., incredible shot!
And on the other end of the spectrum, sometimes the simplest of tasks can become the biggest mistakes.
He's got to make it. He's a good spare shooter, but he's got to convert the 10-pin right here.
Single pin spare, misses it! He missed it! And Duke has won the U.S. Open.
Everyone wants to throw more strikes, and that includes me. But the quickest way to improve your average is to be a better spare shooter. Johnny Petraglia once told me that being a great spare shooter wouldn't make me a champion, but not being one would never give me a chance. Here's our staff, and they'll show you some different ways to shoot spares.
Getting lined up on your house pattern and throwing strikes is a great thing, just like Amitri is doing. But one of the important things to bowling is spare shooting. Something my dad always told me, make your spares, strikes will come. Spares are going to add pins not only to the game you are bowling, but also to your average at the end of the season. Those extra pins and making spares is going to improve your game overall. We're going to teach you about an easy sparing system that you can incorporate into your game no matter what level bowler you are. It's the 3-6-9 system. Now the key factor on the 3-6-9 system is you already need to be lined up and have your strike target. Ametria is lined up. She has her left foot as a right-handed bowler placed on the 18 board, and her strike target is the second arrow. For the 2-pin, she is going to move 3 boards to the right. That is now going to place her feet on the 15 board, and she is still going to use the second arrow as her target to make the 2-pin. Ametria is now ready to shoot at the 4-pin. To shoot the 2-pin, she was on the 15 board. She will now move 3 more boards to the right, which will place her feet on 12, but she is still going to use her strike target of the second arrow or the 10 board to make the 4-pin. We are now going to shoot at the 7-pin. Same system. Ametria is now going to move 3 more boards to the right. She will now be lined up on the 9 board and still use the second arrow or the 10 board to make the 7-pin. The 3-6-9 sparing system is also used for spares on the right-hand side of the lane. Ametria is lined up for a strike on the 18 board. She is now going to shoot at the 3-pin. She will move her feet 3 boards to the left, which now puts her on 21 board, and she will use the second arrow to shoot at the 3-pin. To shoot at the 6-pin, Ametria will now move another 3 boards to the left, putting her feet on the 24 board, still using the second arrow as her target. Another sparing option is using a plastic ball or a ball that doesn't hook. This is what our elite players use most of the time because it doesn't hook, it takes the lane condition out of play, so it doesn't matter what you're bowling on. And once you find your sparing system with the plastic ball, you can use that sparing system no matter where you go. Teresa, one of our elite women bowlers, always uses a plastic ball to shoot at all of her single pin spares. She's going to shoot at a 10-pin. Her starting area is 35 board, and she uses the 17 board as her target. Teresa is now going to shoot at the 6-pin. She's still going to use the 3-6-9 system for her feet and use the 17 board as her target because the ball does not hook. She's going to move 3 boards to the right. Now she will be on 32 board and still use 17. We are now going to shoot at the 3-pin. Teresa will move another 3 boards, which is 6 boards to the right off of her 10-pin position. So she will now be on the 29 board, still using 17 as her target. For spares on the left side of the lane using a plastic ball, get lined up making the 7-pin. Then it's easy from there. Continue to move depending on what pin you leave on the lane, 3 boards, 6 boards, or 9 boards, still using the same target on the lane. We've explained 2 sparing systems for you. The one using your strike target and your strike ball with the 3-6-9 system. This is a great sparing system when you bowl on a house shot. Same shot every week, things usually don't change. You also probably have a little bit of margin for error, meaning you don't always have to hit your target because the ball always hooks to your spare. That's okay. Using the plastic ball, though, is definitely the option I would suggest for tournament competition. Sometimes those lane conditions can be a little difficult. Using the spare ball takes the lane condition and the lane out of play and allows you to use the same foot target and target on the lane to make the spares. Good luck.
If you're having a good night and throwing the ball well, you might be lucky enough to only leave a few corner pins. Of course, that might not be so good if you dread shooting them. Here's some tips on how to make those pesky 7 and 10 pins because, well, USBC makes it against the rules to shoot it this way.
A great practice drill to help you with your spare shooting, especially that dreaded 7 and 10 pin that gives every bowler problems, is low ball. We have Jean-Marc and Terry here competing against each other in a low ball competition. In low ball, what you want to do is knock down the least amount of pins every time you shoot at the rack. So this is a perfect time to practice that 7 or that 10 pin. Now, if you use a plastic ball, it's probably a little bit easier because the ball doesn't hook, easier to make those corner pins. But you know what? Change it up a little bit. Use your strike ball. Try flattening it out a little bit. This gives you another option. If you don't want to use your spare ball, you have the option to use your strike ball. It's a game, it's practice, and practice makes perfect.
We all know that the 7-10 and the Big 4 can be virtually impossible to make, but a washout can be made a majority of the time if you approach it the right way. I see most players approach it in completely the wrong way. If you can leave the head pin after throwing your strike ball, you probably don't have any business shooting a washout by trying to hook it. By changing your strategy just a little bit, you can significantly increase your odds of making this spare. Like it's my job.
A very commonly bowlers leave nowadays is a washout. And most bowlers try to attempt it using their strike ball and their strike line and try to go over the opposite side, and they rarely have success, maybe 10%. The reason bowlers don't have very much success using their strike ball at the washout is the angle of attack, or the angle that you have to hit that head pin to get over the 10 pin is very small. Think about it like if you're shooting pool, and if you had a pool ball or a ball sitting on the center dot of a pool table, and you're trying to shoot it or cut it into the corner pocket on that pool table over on the right-hand side. Would you put your cue ball behind the line on the right side or the left side to try to make that shot? Of course you would put it on the left side. It gives you a better angle. So that's what we recommend for you to do at the washout, is throw your spare ball and shoot it from the left. It gives you a better angle of attack and probably, and most likely, more success at picking up that washout. When you're attacking your spares, think of different angles that you want to attack them to give you the best options to be able to pick that spare. Sometimes shooting from the left will be more advantageous than shooting from the right.
the sport's best will tell you that a strong mental game may be the most important trait a bowler can develop. Kelly Kulick overcame unthinkable pressure to become the first woman to win a title on the PBA Tour.
5 in a row. How about that, America?
If he goes strike, 9 spare, Rhino Page wins his first ever major.
On the flip side, distraction, in this case a question about the shot clock used for television shows, can lead to a nightmare.
Shot clock's already started. I just got pins.
Oh my goodness gracious. Patrick Allen wins.
While bowling is largely considered a physical game, the mental aspect is what normally separates the top players. As Yogi Berra once said, 90% of the game is 50% mental, or something like that. So, getting distracted and losing your focus can be very costly at any level. In this section, we'll talk about ways to keep your mind focused and on task so that you can perform at your highest level. There's a lot of talk about pre-shot routines. Some are shorter and some are longer. Mine, I wipe off my shoes, wipe off my ball, left shoe again, a couple of seconds about what I'm doing, get up and throw it. You have some that are like Randy Peterson and Walter Ray, get up there in no time at all. And next we'll go to Carolyn Doran Ballard, who probably takes as long as anyone I know.
Kind of ironic, they've asked me to talk about the pre-shot routine. That's something very important to me and is a very important part of my game. It helps me mostly mentally. I'm going to tell you what I do to put me into that moment where everything else is just a blur. Before I pick up my bowling ball, the first thing I do is I close my eyes at the settee area and I visualize my shot. After that, I pick up my towel and my rosin bag, pick up my ball, and I wipe my ball off 4 times. This is the part that's probably the most important, and I really can't explain why. It just is. I close my eyes while I am rotating my rosin bag and just squeezing it. I don't know why it helps me, but while I'm closing my eyes, I am putting myself in a very positive place with positive thoughts. At the US Open and the Women's World Championships, I can tell you what I was thinking about. I was thinking about my husband and my daughter. That puts me in a good, positive place. It makes me feel calm, and now I'm ready to bowl. I suggest that you put yourself in a positive place. Negative thoughts is not what you need before you walk on the approach. Negative thoughts will not make you the bowler you need to be. So remember, get a pre-shot routine. It's going to get you focused and get you to the point you need to be.
See the ball, be the ball. Often visualization is a big part of the mental game, and one of those big choices can be targeting and how you look at a target. You have to make the choice to physically focus on that target, and we're going to see one of USBC's most technologically advanced products to show you how to target.
Visualization is a really important part of bowling. It starts way back in the settee area before you even pick up the bowling ball. The great thing about visualization is it's something you can practice at home. It's all about closing your eyes, visualizing that perfect shot off your hand, and watching the motion as it goes down the lane, hitting the pocket. Rod, we have a great tool here at the ITRC for visualization.
Yeah, we have what we call the goggles, and the goggles is a neat innovation that we have, that we actually can see what a bowler's looking at. So even though the bowler is visualizing what they want the ball to do in transition going down, we can actually see what they're looking at when they pick up the ball and the motion that the ball is making down the lane. The interesting thing that we found so far is there's a distinct difference between mid-level bowlers and high-end bowlers. Our mid-level bowlers their eyes are all over the place. They kind of think they're looking at a target and they'll jump off to the left, jump off the right, look up and down, and they'll swear they're looking at the target. But when we get to the advanced bowlers, elite bowlers, what have we seen?
With the elite bowlers, usually what we watch is our break point from down the lane back towards the foul line. That allows us to watch the lane back to front, front to back. Very rarely do we look side to side.
And what's interesting is we've seen it on generations, different generations brought. Some are based off target and they stay focused on that one target at the end. Others that we're seeing on the new players are constantly moving up and back, but everything's in linear, front, back, up in the lane. Nothing going horizontal and side to side.
One of the great things I found with the goggles is it really showed me on some of the shots where I really thought I hit my target and I was getting my ball to that break point. It showed me by fact that I was not hitting my target, so it brought out some points that I needed to work on.
Yeah, we've actually seen too, some players have been almost astounded at how much their head moves around. With the goggles on there, we can actually see how much their heads are moving around. Some players even close their eyes at the moment of release. They're trying to get that little extra stuff on the bowling ball, and they actually close their eyes. They don't believe it until they actually see it on these goggles. And it actually, once their mind sees it, just like the visualization, then they'll believe it, then they can do it.
So actually what you're telling me is the goggles, and you're telling me I'm not perfect.
Oh, wow. How do you answer that?
Pressure situations. We've all been in them. It doesn't matter if it's for your first 200 game, your first 300 game, a league championship, or the US Open. We've all been in them. We've all failed in them at some point, and hopefully we've all succeeded in them. How you deal with these pressure situations has a lot to do with how others view you as successful or not. And largely how much pressure you feel is how much you make up about how important that moment is. Ultimately, you're still only walking about 15 feet and trying to hit a target on a lane. But many things like money, title, teammates, trophy, all these things can add much more to a particular situation. The most pressure I ever felt was at the US Open and having to strike for a win on one of the toughest patterns I ever bowled on. But what made it the hardest was all the surrounding things that I made up about it as well.
Gotta be a strike. Gets it.
That makes up for a bunch of them right there. Woo!
We're going to go with two of the most successful players to ever play our sport and get some of their thoughts on how to handle pressure situations.
Beautiful shot. And she gets it.
Oh, and she's tight again, and the 7 goes down this time.
Big shot actually early in the match. Boy, you can hear the crack from here, March.
Just pure, great shot off her hand.
Handling pressure. It's really funny. After a TV show and I would get home, people would look at me and say, "You look so calm on TV. It looks so easy." You have no idea. It's just not that easy.
It really isn't. It's the one thing that I struggled with most in my game over the years. And I remember when it sort of changed for me. I had been working with a sports psychologist, and I'd been through a few. And I would just get on TV and panic, being so afraid of making a mistake, disappointing my family, my friends, and I was almost paralyzed. And so I think working with Dr. Dean Hinnitz, and he's helped me really feel like I just had so many regrets in the past. And it's so much better to get home, look myself in the mirror, and not feel bad about who I was when I threw the ball.
It's funny, you try to stay as positive as you can, especially in those pressure situations, because you don't want to make a mistake. But one of the things I found was I got into the fact of being away from bowling when the women's tour folded. I lost that mental toughness. You know, when you're used to doing something all the time, like a pre-shot routine where it puts you in that moment, it gets you focused. I lost some of my mental focus, what was important. So I came to the ITRC, and Kim and Rod helped me over the last year or so on really trying to find out where I needed to be at that moment to help me excel.
Right, and I think in just staying present, that's one of the things that, in coaching I found that getting players to recognize that every single shot counts, whether they're in practice, league play, tournament play, to make every shot matter. So when it comes down to it, you need to make that great shot to win the Queens or the US Open or the Masters, or win your league title. It's no different than what you did and what you've practiced over and over again.
And listen to this reaction.
Come on, CDB. Yeah!
Calling out her own initials. Come on, CDB.
And it's really hard when you're thinking that all these people are watching you. Oh my gosh, what are they going to think of me? It's really not what they think of you. It's what you think of yourself. And one of the things I really had to get the grip on again is that I am in the moment. I'm going to try the best I can. And if I fail, which is not a bad thing, I realize what I did, I make the change, and hopefully I don't do that again on the next shot. So really, failure is a learning experience. Although you may not like it, it's something you really have to take notice of and just make the right adjustments.
You still got to be aggressive. I totally agree. Let's see what happens.
Beautiful.
Kim Terrell. Kearney is the new 2008 U.S. Women's Open champion.
Right, and it's having that good perspective of, I think that's one of the great things, and unfortunately not having a women's tour anymore and not getting to play every single week, you get to go home and be normal and realize that, as much as it matters and it's how you pay your mortgage and how you define your success, that it's a game, give yourself a break. We all make mistakes. Sometimes we'll throw great shots when it matters, and sometimes we won't.
Sometimes we're great, sometimes we're not, but we're great in other ways. And really, the mental focus and the visualization has really helped me, especially being here at the I2RC when we've done the goggles and worked with Team USA, taking a step back and realizing that when I do make a mistake, don't think too far ahead. Think about staying in that moment, that there's, it's one of those things, don't think about the 10th frame, I'm only in the 3rd, because then I missed the 4th to the 9th frame and the game is over. So that was really important to me, was stop thinking ahead, stop putting so much pressure on myself, because I did have a tendency to beat myself up a lot. It was always me. It was, why couldn't you do better? Why are you making mistakes? And really, you helped me take a step back and say, you know what? It's okay. So let's just move on to the next frame and take one shot at a time.
So you can make educated decisions.
When it comes to equipment, you want to have the right gear. If your hand doesn't come out of the ball right, well, it can lead to some issues. In addition to fit, ball choices can also affect your score. Advanced equipment is part of the game, and understanding it can be a key to increasing your average.
One of the most frequent questions I get is, Chris, what's the right ball for me? And the answer is, it could be just about any one of them on a given condition and lane surface. So what we're going to do in this section is we're going to give you the tools to make that decision yourself by going through the ball types, ball motion, surface management, and some lesser known factors that can all contribute into that, what is the right equipment for me? When throwing a ball down the lane, it goes through 3 distinct phases: skid, hook, and roll. Now, while we've all seen them do this, we may not have thought about it in quite this way. In the first 20 feet or so, the ball will skid. Now, as it gets down here past the arrows, it goes into the hook phase, along where your breakpoint is. And then past this last rangefinders, now you want the ball to go into a roll, so it has the least amount of deflection. Understanding your ball motion is a key component to being able to understand your equipment.
As a Team USA head coach, we get contacted quite often about what is the magic bowling ball, what is the secret of equipment. To understand equipment in bowling balls, you need to understand ball motion and the phases that a bowling ball goes through down the lane to the pins. We have 3 phases. The first phase is called the skid phase. This is when the ball is coming off the bowler's hand. It's on the front part of the lane, and it's generally about to the first 15 to 20 feet maximum going down the lane. This is when the ball is at its fastest speed and has its most axis rotation. The next phase is the hook phase. The hook phase generally starts about 20, 22 feet and continues down. We want to see it somewhere down, especially on tournament play, somewhere down in the 40, 45 foot range. After that, we have the roll phase. The roll phase is when the ball is going in a straight linear line and it's rolling end over end. It's lost all its axis rotation and it actually is traveling at the slowest speed. What we see a lot of times is the skid phase ends up being about 30 to 40 feet. The ball starts in its hook phase at about 45 feet or so. The ball never gets into the roll phase. The majority of the time when you're leaving those corner pins is because the ball's still in the hook phase and not into the roll phase as it goes into the pins. This pertains a lot to what ball you're going to select and the surface on that bowling ball for your equipment to be able to match up to the lane conditions.
Ball manufacturers are always looking for a better way to create a product to help your game. But much like you would need to know the difference between a sports car and a pickup, there are so many different options today between plastic, resin, dough balls, shiny balls, RGs, differentials. There's a vast array of options out there. Rod's going to help you determine which ball type is best for you.
Now that we understand the phases of ball motion, let's get into the equipment and selection and matching up for you. In front of me I have 3 high-performance bowling balls from different manufacturers. As you can see, I have a dull one here on my left, kind of a medium finish on one in the center, and a highly polished one on the right. These 3 balls will give me distinct different motions going down the lane. Remember we talked about that first phase, but it was skid. This one will give me least skid. This one will give me the maximum skid. So if you're a player that is on the slower speed, you probably want to be looking at a ball that's a little shinier so you can get the ball down the lane. On the other end, if you're a player with very high speed or high RPMs, you probably want to get a ball that's going to get into a roll a little bit sooner. The key is getting the ball to match up to you. Even though these balls come this way from the manufacturer off the shelf, we recommend that you fine-tune them to match up to your game. You can change the surface on these balls. We can take this bowling ball down and make it similar to this one, or even almost all the way down to here. On the same end, we can take this ball and shine it up. So you can fine-tune these balls after you purchase them to match up to your game. Just because they came that way from the manufacturer does not mean they're the best for you. Bowling ball cores or bowling ball dynamics. The engine or the inside of the bowling ball has a lot to do with the motion the ball is going to be doing down the lane. Please remember, the surface of that bowling ball dictates the distance that you're going to be doing the skid and controlling when the ball grabs. The core is going to dictate the motion it does when it starts to change direction. On my left here I have what's called an asymmetrical. An asymmetrical is the ball core is not exactly the same all the way around. Think of it as a mug with a handle on the side. It's not going to be the same. On my right, I have a symmetrical. It is going to be just like that Coke bottle or that Pepsi bottle. It's going to be exactly the same all the way around. These two will kind of give you slightly different motions. Inside here in the middle, I have 2 cores. I have a very large core and I have a small core. The small core creates what we call a lower RG. It's going to be more center heavy. To my right here, I have a large core. The weight's going to be closer to the outside of the shell. How that relates to bowling is that if you took an ice skater, and an ice skater has their arms out, they're spinning slightly slow. As they pull their arms in, they start spinning faster. This would be the ice skater if their arms out. This would be the ice skater when they pull their arms in. The key is matching it up to your style and your game. Your local pro shop operator can help you make the proper choices.
The easiest part of a bowling ball to manipulate is the surface. It's the only part that touches the lane. With a few Abralon pads, a little bit of polish, and a towel, you too can either make your breakpoint sooner or later fairly easily. Coach Rod Ross and Earl the Robot will show you and demonstrate how to make your old ball do new tricks.
Adjusting the surface on the bowling ball is done by utilizing sanding pads manufactured by several different companies that you can use in your bowling ball. They come in a wide range of grits, from like 360 even down to 180 up to 4,000. The difference is the higher the number, the larger the number, the finer the grit, the smoother it's going to be. The lower the number, the 180s, the 360, the rougher it's going to be, the more it's going to make the ball want to read early or pick up early. It's going to make it rougher. It's easy to adjust the surface on your bowling ball. If you just take one of your pads and just slightly adjust the surface, you can see right off now it is substantially duller. That is going to make the ball act like the lanes are drier. It's going to actually make the ball read earlier. It's going to make the hook face start sooner. The ball is actually going to be smoother as it goes down the lane. Let's take a look at Earl, our robot, and show you some of the differences of different surfaces with the same ball going down the lane.
Of course, the bowling ball is the most obvious piece of the equipment puzzle, but there are many other smaller things that can contribute to your success. Carolyn will be in the pro shop showing you many of the ways that the pros and amateurs alike can prepare to be their best on the lanes.
Welcome to the Pro Shop. The Pro Shop is located inside your bowling center. You've spent a lot of money on your equipment. Let me give you some hints as to how you can maintain that equipment. It's kind of like having a car. You have your car, you need to get the oil change so that you can maintain your vehicle for as long as you want. Same thing with bowling equipment. When you get to the Pro Shop, ask your operator what you can do to get the oil off your ball and get the surface back to as clean as possible. They have a lot of cleaners out there that will be available to you. One of them is a wipe. You just take it out of the bag, and as you're wiping the surface of the bowling ball, you'll see it'll look wet. It will dry really quickly, and you will notice that that oil line on the ball will be gone. How often should you do this? Well, I suggest you do it every time you bowl. If you can't, if you bowl once, twice, 3 times a week, at the end of every week, clean your equipment, and that will maintain it for a long time. Why clean our ball? Why maintain it? You know why? When that oil gets on this bowling ball, it continues to soak into the bowling ball. Guess what happens? The ball stops hooking. And as you know, you don't want your ball to stop hooking. Seek your local pro shop out. They will have the answer. What we used to do in the old days is sand the ball way down to a 180 grit and then bring it all the way back. And that took the oil off the surface. But with today's bowling balls, things have changed. Your pro shop operator will help you decide what is best for the equipment that you have. Something you can do on your own is use a spray cleaner that is available in the pro shop or a microfiber towel. Just by wiping off the surface of that ball, it will take the surface oil off, but will not take that oil that has soaked into the ball out. If you're just getting ready to purchase your brand new bowling ball, make sure you go to your pro shop operator and have them fit you properly. You don't want to just go anywhere to get your bowling ball drilled. If it has been suggested to you to use a wrist device, and there are many wrist devices out there on the market, this is going to help you hook the ball a little bit more and keep your wrist firm. Please make sure that that pro shop operator measures you and fits you with the wrist device on. It will then fit you properly. If you're going to spend all this money on your equipment, I want you to have everything necessary to perform to the best of your ability. The biggest problem I see when I travel the country is bowling shoes. The house shoes or lower performance shoes have the same sole and heel. It does not allow you to grip to the approach and get a good slide into the foul line to create leverage. I suggest a higher performance shoe. Each shoe is going to do something different. One shoe is going to have rubber on it. You will be able to create a great power step with this shoe. It will then allow you to slide into the line, create really good leverage to execute your shot. No matter whether I'm bowling league, going to a tournament, especially the Open Championship, you will never see me without my accessory bag. And my accessory bag has everything in it that I will need to perform to the highest level. I always bring my thumb tape, which I use on top of my thumb so that I don't cut. And because my skin is dry, it covers my skin so it doesn't get raw. Glue to glue in my grips. I'm always changing my grips, so I always have a bottle of glue with me. Bowling tape. I go through thousands of pieces of bowling tape. This helps me create the feel I need with my bowling ball so that I can throw it the same every shot. Extra soles and heels for my shoes. I never know what surface or approach I'm going to be bowling on, so I need to be prepared with my bowling shoes. And lastly, always have a pair of scissors. This will help you insert the bowler's tape into your thumb and also help you insert your grips.
Lift it straight up and keep your heels on the floor.
Bowling isn't only about the time you spend on the lanes. There are many opportunities to improve your physical conditioning, help prevent injuries, and work on specific bowling-related movements in the gym and even in your own home. By taking a little extra time off the lanes, your time on the lanes could prove to be much more fruitful.
While there's lots of things that we do to be successful while we're on the lanes, there's a few things you can do directly before, after, and even while you're at home to prepare for success while you're competing.
$499, $500.
After bowling over 50,000 games in my career, I can tell you that it takes its toll on your body in many different ways. But there are exercises you can do to keep your body in peak physical condition and to help prevent injury. Coach Kearney is going to help look at a couple of things that can help you perform at your best.
How many times at the start of league night have you seen guys up on the approach doing jumping jacks and running in place? I bet not very often. But what we've found with our studies here at the International Training and Research Center with our sports performance specialists and in going up to the Olympic Training Center, that bowling is a sport that requires dynamic warm-ups. Dynamic meaning getting your core and your heartbeat going. We want to get you moving and ready so that we use our practice time wisely. Let's take a look at some of the exercise we have our teams do before competition. We'll do some jumping jacks, arm swings, in front and then also alongside. We do squats and lunges. We do a squat here, making sure we keep our heels down and feet shoulder width apart. Anything that can get your heart up and running. We'll do leg swings from side to side, alternating with each leg. And then we do them in front. All of these in an effort to get your body going, nice and loose and ready to make great shots, get yourself lined up much, much quicker. Now that your competition is over, we recommend what we call static stretching, something that was very common in the past, everything that I was always taught before I went bowling, you know, that static being bending over, touching your toes, some of these movements. Much better suited for the end of the night, just to bring your core down, your body temperature down, and also to prevent a lot of injury.
We've given you many pointers that you can do on the lanes to help make yourself a better bowler and increase your average. But there's many things you can also do on your own time and even at your own home that can help keep that progress going.
Some release drills you can do at home to help develop your release. You can utilize a Nerf football or a softball. The Nerf football has been around quite a while for teaching releases. It has you rotate the ball. The issue that a lot of us have with this is it makes you come around that football and actually creates what we call that flying elbow. Makes them overturn the bowling ball. The drill we would like to recommend is using a softball. First, when you grab the softball to toss it, we do not want to grab it with a tight fist. This is like gripping the bowling ball. We want you to hold it in your hand and keep your thumb relaxed. Keep it out. Start by just tossing it to yourself and get used to rolling your fingers, keeping your thumb relaxed. As you advance, start learning to turn it sideways by still keeping your hand underneath the softball. This is the release you want to do when they talk about coming from the inside of the ball. You hear a lot of times on the PBA Tour. This is the release that they are using. Now we brought Steven in. Steven has a very good release, but we're going to work on some drills while he can accelerate his release training at home. I'm going to give you a softball, and I want you to just toss the softball to yourself. You notice right off the bat, Steven grabs it with his thumb. That's what we were talking about. You don't want to grab it with your thumb. You want to keep your thumb relaxed off of it and just toss it to yourself using the middle part of your hand and your fingers. That separates those muscles between the thumb and finger so you can keep a nice relaxed grip but still get a lot of RPMs on the bowling ball. The next drill we want to do is do some side turns. So as your thumbs relax, come underneath, turn it sideways. As you practice this, you'll incorporate it into your release and you'll have a stronger release out on the lanes.